Hello and welcome to the Wrestling Group. I'm Matty and today I'm joined by Ryan.
Hi guys.
And if you enjoyed our fantasy booking video of Evolution, you're certainly going to enjoy this as we put our favourites now against our favourites then in this past versus present video fantasy booking. The rules are as followed. Wrestlers from the past have to not wrestle or not wrestle continuously anymore, so not including part-timers. Current wrestlers are their persona now. We each have one lock match. Wrestlers have to be used from the past against current from any company. Each of us have 2 women matches and 6 men's, and wrestlers can't be used more than once, but we have substitutes on standby. And always remember to like this video, subscribe to be notified when we upload more videos, and comment below on what future and past wrestlers you want to see face off. So, with that said, let's dive into this fantasy booking. And I'm going to start off with a lock match as my number 1. And I'm going to go with Kenny Omega versus Chris Benoit in a 4 count anywhere match for the world title. And the world title I will be using is this one right here.
Kenny Omega in a lock match.
It is.
For someone who doesn't watch AEW, that has shocked me. I didn't have a Chris Benoit match for the simple fact is I didn't know where we were going to go with it. But I do have it.
I know how people feel about him. Yeah, it's not great what happened, but he's such a phenomenal wrestler still at the end of the day.
No, I agree. Like I've mentioned him in other videos before, and obviously we don't condone what happened. But you know, his body of work speaks for itself. I do have a Kenny Omega match though. I'm going to throw it out there. I know it won't make a difference because this is your lock match, but I had Kenny Omega versus Triple H.
Ooh, okay. Well, I had a different Triple H match as a substitute. If you'd maybe like to take that.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, this was my substitute. It's in my substitute list, so I do still have a Triple H match on my main. But I was just throwing out there, like Kenny Omega versus Triple H was on my backup. In case Triple H got used, because to be honest with you, I didn't expect Kenny Omega to be used by you, so.
Well, yeah, no, to be fair, yeah, I know I don't really watch as much AEW, but there is a few wrestlers that I do appreciate, and they are on my list.
Yeah.
But I feel like Kenny Omega, Chris Benoit would be just an awesome match.
What era? Benoit, 2004.
So it'd be like the 2004 one when he like won the title and stuff like that. That Benoit. And it would be for the World Heavyweight title as well, the one that he had.
Yeah, the proper one.
Yeah.
Not the one with the big massive W in the middle of it.
Yeah, the falls count in a falls count anywhere match, just gives it that little legend, just takes it off the arena and goes wherever they want.
Yeah,
I think it'd be a beast match. It really would.
Yeah, I can't disagree. Like, I was a massive Chris Benoit fan, obviously back in the day, and Kenny Omega's been one of the best wrestlers in the world for the last 5 to 10 years. He's been phenomenal. His stuff in New Japan. Unfortunately, he's had injuries over the last couple of years, so he hasn't been as prominent. But you know, if you anything's to go by the last 6 to 8 months since he's returned, he looks peak. He looks in great condition. It looks like he's going to be going against Okada as well at All In, and Omega and Okada, they don't wrestle each other at half cast, you know what I mean? So they're going to go full tilt. So we're going to get to see old Kenny. So if you're looking peak Kenny Omega versus peak Chris Benoit, then like I'm down for that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay, so what have you got next?
So my lock match is a bit of an obvious one because it is the decal. It is current John Moxley, Death Riders John Moxley versus 2001 Cactus Jack. I know obviously the picture isn't 2001 Cactus Jack, but I think the picture looks cool, so I went with that. But like the reason for this, obviously, is if you go back years ago when Dean Ambrose first come into WWE, he was supposed to face off against Mick Foley as Cactus Jack. That didn't come to account because Foley couldn't get cleared. You know, he had the problems with his knees and his hips, and that left Dean basically floundering for a while before he ended up as part of Shield and NXT. And I just feel like if we'd have got Prime Cactus Jack, so for me, Prime, I know Cactus Jack was big in WCW and everything else beforehand, but like Cactus Jack for me is when he faced like Triple H in the Hell in a Cell match, like 2001 era Cactus, like that. That was when he was at his best for me.
Yeah, no, definitely. Cactus Jack is just on another level. Like that, that Royal Rumble match with Triple H is always one of my favorite ones. Cactus Jack's brutal.
And then we've obviously got John Moxley, who just loves to bite people's ears, stab people with forks, like all that kind of stuff. Like this version of Mox now is obviously much better than anything we've seen in WWE.
Yeah,
More violent, more aggressive, and I feel like that side versus Cactus would just be brilliant. And I didn't want to not have it as my lock because I made the decal.
well,
I
I
didn't
get
want
that.
to stand this out.
But to be honest, I have not used either one of them on my card because I assumed you were going to take that anyway.
Yeah, brill.
So you wasted that. But yeah. All right, yeah, no, fair enough. I enjoyed that match. That sounds like a good match. Is it any stipulations or anything, or?
Just hardcore. Like it's got to be a hardcore match, hasn't it? Like it can be anything. Like I wouldn't put it like in a cage or anything. I don't feel like they need that. I just do like general hardcore match, tables, chairs, whatever you can get your hands on, trash cans, forks. Forks. Mox like stabbing people with forks. Like I don't know why.
Okay, right. So I guess we'll move on then.
Have you started to make the list of what we've got? So them two are obviously definitely in because we're gonna need it. Do
I have not made a list. Oh,
you want me to do it? I'll do
if
it.
you can start it, yeah, because I do not
Yeah.
have a pen.
Okay. No, that's fine. What we'll do is we'll do like we did the last one. So obviously match. So the first match in we've got is Benoit versus Omega, just so we know where we're up to when we get the full card at the end.
Yeah.
World Heavyweight Championship
Yeah.
falls anywhere. Then we have Mox versus.
I wanted to do a submission match, but I didn't know like if what
I've
like
got a submission match. I've got a
yeah, okay,
submission match.
that's fine, don't worry. That's fine. Yeah, because I didn't really think if Kenny Omega did much submissions. Like I don't really see him as much as a submission artist.
Yeah, no,
More
I mean,
all rounded.
yeah. So where do you want to go next? Then what are you looking at next? Start throwing some bits out, and we'll see where
Okay,
we go. Because this is
so
all now up for grabs. This way we can debate.
I'm gonna start off with a really good, nice technical match. I'm gonna go with the Macho Man Randy Savage from 1988, so around WrestleMania 3 time, versus Chad Gable for the Intercontinental title.
Not bad. I don't have anything for either of them, to be fair.
I think I just think it'll be an absolute classic between them two, especially at that time in Randy Savage time. That match at WrestleMania 3 with Ricky.
Yeah, the only problem I have with this match is Chad Gable's massively underrated in WWE. And if we're going obviously by present current day, I don't feel like it'd be a draw for me because
we're not doing his El Grande persona. We're leaving that one out.
He's not the street champion on Twitter, then no. It's not even just that though. I feel like he should have been the next Kurt Angle. He should have been literally the second coming of Kurt Angle. A phenomenal athlete that he is. You know, he's great. You've seen him throw around Gunther, man, in the ring like he's nothing. Like that's how good he is. But over the last year, they've made him a joke. And I know, yeah, he's got a separate gimmick of this El Grande loco, whatever, and Chad Gable. But even as the Chad Gable side, it's missable, I'm afraid. We'll put that in the maybe section then for now.
In the maybe section.
We'll go for the maybe section.
What have you got next?
Right. I'm going to throw out then the submission match that I had, and I've gone for a fatal four-way submission match, which you don't tend to see. We only normally see one-on-ones. So get your head around this one. We've got Current Brian Danielson. So I know, yes, he's currently taking a bit of time off or whatever, and he may or may not be retired. But his last run in AEW was phenomenal. So that version, Brian Danielson versus 1998 Bret the Hitman Hart versus 2006 Kurt Angle when he was the Wrestling Machine as the World Heavyweight Champion versus Zack Sabre Jr. from New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Ooh, that sounds like a really good match, to be fair. That sounds better than my fatal four way I had for Brian Danielson, to be fair. And Bret Hart, funnily enough, the same year as well.
What was yours?
I had Adam Cole versus Bret Hart, 1988 versus Johnny Gargano versus Brian Danielson. That's what I had.
Fair play.
But yeah, your one sounds way better. A fatal four-way submission match between them would be absolutely amazing, and especially considering you don't see them.
You could even make it elimination if you wanted. You could do it elimination where each and every one has to be tapped out, or you could have it as just a fatal four-way, and you know you're going to then get some mad mix of a combination of all four people being put in a submission at the same time, because that's what we do.
Because I'd enjoy to see both kind of those stipulations, like
exactly.
Yeah, like like the elimination, you get to see obviously all the eliminations. It's fun, and I love elimination matches. They're like one of my favorite types. But like, yeah, that stakes of there's only going to be one winner out of the whole, like one submission out of the whole four that wins. The hard one.
It is, and the four great wrestlers, four great technical wrestlers. You know what I mean? Like say, Zack Sabre Jr.'s literally at the peak of his career now. He's just been world heavyweight champion in New Japan. Kurt Angle for me in 2006 when he was the Wrestling Machine just before he left WWE was absolute peak. Yeah. He wasn't pissing around doing little jokes and all that stuff. He was a proper like come out. He was proper. Had the teeth guards in, proper going for it, aggressive, proper. In your face. And then obviously 98 Bret Hart, you know, when he was facing the likes of Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold and that. And then obviously Brian Danielson in his American Dragon run in AEW was just perfect. So that I'd want to say I pencil that in, but obviously, what do you think? I don't think you can lose there.
I don't think standing tall.
I know, but what I mean is, like, I don't feel like if you pick any of them that you're going to be at a loss. You know what I mean?
No, I get that. But come on.
Personal preference. Personal preference. If we're going to go and we're going to pick based on who I think's the best technical out of the four, then it's Brian Danielson.
Okay, fair enough.
I think he's literally. I know a lot of people say Bret Hart is one of the greatest of all time, and he is, and it's true. But like, I seen Bret at the end of that more.
No, fair enough. To be fair, I'd say Kurt Angle, but I'd like, but yeah, fair enough. Brian Danielson, yeah.
What do you think on me picking that version of Kurt?
What'd you say? Sorry.
What do you think of me picking that version of Kurt Angle?
Oh, yeah, that's his best version. I mean, that's obviously part in his life where he was obviously on like painkillers and stuff, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, just before Kurt Angle in TNA.
But yeah, that was a good time in his career as well. Like, absolute beast. Like, yeah, with I always remember the mouth guard in his mouth. I always remember the black one and just. Yeah,
it was the extension of the music as well at the beginning of his entrance music, you know, and then it went, and then it played it about 3 times on a loop before the music kicked in. Little things, it that stands out for me. And for some reason, he had Daivari as his manager, but we don't need to include him.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember do you remember the entrance when he keeps trying to come out and the crowd keep chanting "You suck" and he has to keeps walking back out and he's like no, and he just goes to the back and then he had to keep replaying his music and he's like, "You can't talk one more time, I'm leaving." Oh, it's boss. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So yeah, that night that's a nice fight four-way. Right, well I'll give us a women's match then since we haven't got one yet.
Okay, yeah, because I struggled a lot with the women's matches, to be fair.
So, I have Lita from 2006 when she's in a run with Edge as a manager and she's women's champ, versus Rhea Ripley for the women's world title.
I'm more than happy to back Lita versus Rhea. I just question the 2006 Lita where she was mainly a manager.
Well, I don't know. I think it's more of a looking at like the heel part that I liked more because it's heel versus face. Like I
100%, yeah.
enjoyed
I just
Lisa more as a
don't.
heel than her.
I
But I
don't
get
feel
what
like
you
a
mean though.
match
Like
is
she was obviously more athletic and more wrestling. Obviously when she's with the Hardys, obviously back in the Attitude Era.
not even that far back. Like even if you look at 2004, Lita when she faced Trish in the main event of Raw for the
Oh well,
Women's
yeah.
Championship, where she come back and she dived to the outside and nearly snapped her neck in two. But like she had really good matches around that time. I get what you're saying, like the face and the heel thing. I think that's perfect. If you could make that version of Lita heel, then it'd work. I just feel like in 2006 she was used more as Edge's manager, and I don't feel like as well. Trish had already retired at that point. They were going through a transitional stage in the women's locker room, and they didn't have great women's wrestlers. It was starting to go into the diva side of it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my only problem with that. Like, I'm more than happy to do Lita versus Rhea. I think that'd be a fantastic match, and I'm
Yeah, I
glad.
mean, I can always compromise with the that's fine with me. But yeah, well, we'll just pretend she's heel.
To be fair, if you get wrestlers that are good enough, you don't need to have one face, one heel. I mean, just this past weekend, we had Hangman versus Will Ospreay, one absolute phenomenal match, 5 stars all day long, and they're both good guys.
Well,
Should that
um,
just be a normal match? Yeah,
I have for the women's world title. I have it for.
women's title. Yeah. Do you know what?
Yeah,
I didn't even put in championships. So
yeah. I've got a few titles. Don't worry.
I'll throw out the women's matches I've got because we're going to go with 2 women's matches anyway, aren't we? So I'm going to tell you what I've got. I've got 2 on my main, and I've got 1 as my backup. So I'll run through and see if any grab you because I'm quite happy to just put because we can order them again like we did last time
Yeah.
at the end. I have Bailey versus 2002 Victoria.
Okay. See, I was
When
going to use Victoria, but I couldn't really think of a year. Like there was that I remember a run in like 2006, I think it was, going into New Year's Revolution. I think it was against Mickey James, and she had like a nice little victory run on the way to her. And I enjoy her finisher, the Widow's Peak.
yeah,
It's good. I
I
think
really rate
more
Victoria.
memorable in TNA, to be fair, more than WWE, if I'm being honest. As
Yeah, possibly, yeah. I mean, the reason I've gone with 2002 is because it was leading into Survivor Series in 2002, where she was facing Trish and they faced off in a hardcore match. And she was heel at the time and she was overly obsessed with Trish and her looks and everything else. And she's like talking to herself in
I
the mirror
remember it.
and
Yeah.
promos and stuff. It was so good. Like, the character was probably her best character in WWE was then.
Okay, fair enough. I think I remember that a little bit. To be fair, like Mickey James, like was obsessed with her at one point and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, I've got Mickey James in a match as well.
Yeah, so have
I,
I actually.
okay, I'll throw out mine, then you tell me yours. I have Timeless Tony Storm versus the last rodeo Mickey James show, 2023 Mickey James, not early doors.
That's the Mickey James I have, the 2023 one. But
Oh, mate, that's
I
rodeo.
have her against
Okay.
Stephanie Kerr.
Oh, I like
Yeah,
that. I like
yeah.
that.
In
I
it
do
in
like
an
that.
NXT TNA Knockouts title unification match. I had.
Okay, I'm
Doesn't
not
have
too
to
sure.
be. Doesn't
That
have to
part.
be. But I just had it just in case.
I'm not sure about that part, like, but yeah,
Yeah, I
no,
mean, we can't
definitely
know
the
more.
Kerr.
We're not talking about Stephanie McCall and the fucking NXT Women's title at the moment.
Yeah, she just lost it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, it's a too soon moment.
I don't know.
Well, well,
I quite like that, Stephanie and Mickey.
I mean, you can always throw Tony in it too, make a triple threat.
Don't feel like we need too many multi ones. Maybe save that, but like I do like the idea of Stephanie and Mickey. I haven't used Stephanie either.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. So she's the only one of actually out of the four that I've got on my main card. I've got 2 others on me
Back
subs.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had
Go-
on my
go on.
backup, I had Zaria versus Beth Phoenix versus China versus Jordan Grace. And just a meaty on meaty on meaty.
The problem I have with that is, and I know maybe people won't agree, China was a terrible wrestler.
Oh yeah, but it's more for the
Beth Phoenix was a terrible wrestler. I get the big muscly women and that. I get that. I get the appeal. But I feel like it would literally end up being Zari and Jordan Grace facing each other because the other two can't carry a match. I've gone with Jordan Grace in a meaty monster match, but against Bull Nakano instead. She could actually wrestle, and she was a monster in the ring. Yeah, I get the thing with China, and I get why people go on about it and that. And you know what, she did some record-breaking stuff. Like, I'm not going to take that away from her. You know, she had a great look, especially when she was like the bodyguard for DX. Um, she couldn't wrestle. She
no,
couldn't wrestle.
I get that. It was more for the appearance, and that was a substitute match anyway. It didn't even
Yeah,
make any.
yeah, same with mine. Jordan Grace was on my subs bench as well. But to be honest with you, I'm quite happy to tie in the other women's match to be Stephanie Verkeer versus Mickey James. I'm more than happy with that.
Yeah, I thought that would be a really good match. To be fair, Mickey James's 2023 TNA run. When we were talking about it the other day about a few of two of
So
them
good.
against Jordan Grace.
Yeah,
Um,
Gianna Carrazzo, Trinity, who's now obviously gone back to WWE and wasted the talent again, is Naomi.
Caution. What? So, do you have another women's match? Do you?
No, that was it. I had obviously Bailey Victoria, Tony, Mickey, and on my subs I had Paul Nakano and Jordan Grace. They were the only ones that I'd written down.
Okay. So the other women's match I had on my subs was Trish Stratus versus Asuka. From Trish
Yeah, I
Stratus.
couldn't find a Trish match mainly because she's returned and she has wrestled over the last couple of years, and a lot of them that you would have said she's now faced, like your Becky's and stuff like that. She's
Yeah,
now
yeah,
actually faced them, hasn't she? So,
yeah.
yeah, I love Oscar, but like I did like Trish. Don't get me wrong, I am a Trish fan. I feel like she was one of the better wrestlers back when women didn't really wrestle. But let's face it, Oscar should beat it in about 5 minutes flat.
Yeah.
If we're honest. Do you know
Um,
what we haven't done yet? We haven't used any tag matches yet at all.
I mean,
So
I've
I'll
gone.
throw one at you.
Go on then.
I'll throw one at you. And I know a lot of people will be expecting Shawn Michaels to appear in a singles match, but I've actually got the Generation X 2006 era, Shawn Michaels and Triple H versus the Young Bucks.
Oh, I
The
have the Young Bucks.
Degenerates versus the Degenerates.
To be fair, I don't mind. Like I do have the Young Bucks in a fatal four way tag match, but I don't mind taking them out and replacing. I originally had a different team, so I don't mind taking the Young Bucks out and using a different team. That's fine.
So you're happy for Young Bucks to face the X?
That's fine. Yeah, I don't mind. Oh, actually, that also takes off my.
Takes out Strong, takes out Triple H. Be careful now.
No, it takes off HBK's match.
Who did you have
um,
drawn against, AJ?
do you know what? We could also because oh no, I couldn't do that. Hmm. Yeah, it was HBK versus AJ, but we could just take. We'll just that. It's all right. I've got a different match for AJ. So.
See, the thing I started having the issue with, and I was speaking to my wife about it earlier, was like as much as obviously I love to see PKJ Styles versus P. Shawn Michaels, it's one of the most talked about dream matches of all time. But
Yeah.
every time you do these style of things, where you do your fancy booking, that match is always in there. So though we haven't actually seen it, I almost feel like we have because we talk about it to death.
Yeah, I
It's
guess
like
so.
Undertaker Sting. Everyone talks that to existence. You're
Yeah.
almost certain you've seen it, but you haven't.
You know what? Yeah, no, that's fine. So I've got a different match for AJ anyway. So don't worry, that's fine. You put D Generation X versus Young Bucks is fine.
Right, okay. So if we're doing an 8-man card, an 8-match card, that literally leaves us with 2 matches left. So we need one more tag and one more
So
men's.
I'd say the tag match I had is the Lucha Brothers versus the Dudley Boys from 2000 versus will now be the Brothers of Destruction versus the Usos in a TLC match.
Right.
I just couldn't think of anyone else other than the Brothers of Destruction that aren't wrestling anymore and that would actually suit in the match. I
See,
would have said the Hardys, but
they're still wrestling and current day Hardys. As much as they're my favourite tag team of all time, like current day
yeah.
Hardys isn't great,
And
is it?
then I can't say Edge and Christian either because they're still wrestling the show.
Yeah, it's hard. This is where I found it hard was the women and the tag teams. So I actually have the Lucha Brothers on my subs bench in a match against Los Guerreros, which is obviously Eddie and Chavo from 2002. I feel like that'd be a really good just standard tag match between the
To be
two.
fair, I could always put the Los Guerreros in this instead of the Brothers of Destruction. I think that would be a better switch.
The reason, yeah, so like I agree with that, but like the reason I didn't have Los Guerreros on my main card is because I had the Will Ospreay versus Eddie Guerrero.
Ah.
And Will Ospreay versus Eddie Guerrero would be so exciting to see. But I thought if obviously any of them got used, then I had obviously Los Guerreros versus Lucha Brothers to fall back on. But the chance to see Will Ospreay versus Eddie Guerrero, like,
What Eddie
but again,
Guerrero? 2004.
yeah, 2004 when he won the world champ. Do you know do you know what I find hard though? Like I said this to my wife as well. I said it's like people automatically when they do fantasy booking, they go to the legends, they go to your Undertakers and people like that. But when they've been around for decades, a lot of them have faced a lot of people in some way, shape, or form. Like I completely forgot Undertaker faced Drew McIntyre until I looked into it, and he'd faced originally as part of like the team thing of Roman Reigns and the Undertaker that lasted for about 3 weeks versus Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre. Like so, they have faced off in that, and I was like, I didn't even realize that was the thing because he's been around for that long. See,
Yeah.
with me, I found it hard the other side of it. I can give you 8 Shawn Michaels matches. I can give you 8 Eddie Guerrero matches. I can give you 8 AJ Styles matches. They're the type of obviously wrestlers that I prefer.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know it's a
So I
hard
find
one.
it hard to just narrow it down and not go, let's have a 20-man battle royal of, you know what I mean? Shawn Michaels, Eddie Guerrero, Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland. You know what I mean?
See, well, I originally what I was gonna do was I wanted to use the Sabu and Rob Van Dam from the ECW team that they had back in that time. But obviously, because Rob Van Dam still kind of wrestles every now and again, couldn't really use him properly. But that team, I think back in the
Yeah.
ECW tag team, I think they're fucking absolutely destroying that match.
See, like the only other tag match I had, which was actually on my main card, was New Day. This version of New Day, which is Xavier and Kofi as bad guys, because I really enjoy what they're doing right now. Versus one of my favorite tag teams in WCW history, which was Harlem Heat, which were
Oh,
obviously
but
Booker T and Stevie Ray. Like they were one of my favorite tag teams growing up because obviously, like everyone knows, I was a WCW fan originally, and I loved Harlem Heat. I just think New Day and Harlem Heat would just be a great tag team. So good. They were the only tag teams that I had was New Day, Harlem Heat, or Los Guerreros, Lucha Brothers. Um,
to
but
be
yeah,
fair, I think that one's probably better only because we've already got a hardcore match anyway with John Moxley and Cactus Jack, whereas
yeah.
we don't need a TLC match as well
But
between.
we've got a falls count anywhere as well. Don't forget. So that's technically like our hardcore match, isn't it?
Yeah. I just felt bad leaving the Dudley boys off, like since they were like a really big thing back in the day as well, and they are.
I don't rate them that well. I mean, I get it, but they just weren't a big thing for me. So my issue is more like if I go with New Day Harlem Heat, and we don't go with Osprey Eddie or Los Guerreros Lucha Brothers, can we really book a card about Eddie Guerrero being in a match?
I know, I know.
That's what I'm
So
struggling with.
how many more matches do you have left?
So I tell you what I've got left on my main card, and I was trying to sneak this in, but I don't think I'll get away with it. So I was trying to do a past versus past, but two different eras, but I don't think he'll allow me to do it. And it's only because it's like one of the matches that excites me the most is Stone Cold versus Roddy Piper. Like, I know obviously they're both in the past, none of them's current, but like the fact of seeing two of my favorite wrestlers, I've got to try and sneak it in there. I know it's not going to come off, but I had to mention obviously 1998 Stone Cold and 1985 Roddy Piper, but I know it's not going to be allowed.
Unfortunately, that cannot be used. But I do have a Stone Cold match, funnily enough.
I couldn't find one. I couldn't find one. And you know what annoys me? And I know you're probably going to say it, so I want to cut in now. Is Stone Cold vs CM Punk is not a dream match.
No.
Oh, thank God. People have been calling for this match for decades, and I don't know why. It's just, I don't get it. I don't know the appeal.
No. So, the only thing is, I couldn't really pick a year because there's so many good years for Stone Cold. It's hard to pick a single year. I had like literally the same between like that to 2001. Like he's just brilliant all the way through. But I had them versus Randy Orton because they've never. I don't think it's ever really been spoken about. I've ever heard of Stone Cold versus Randy Orton. I just think I think it'd be good. I don't see why it wouldn't be.
I agree. I do agree. It's just our problem is Randy Orton's active. I'd have preferred earlier Randy than now to face Stone Cold. Although, like, I mean, it's that booking a legend versus a legend because now he is a legend, whether people want to admit it or not. Randy Orton now is a legend in wrestling. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. As soon as he retires, he's getting inducted in that Hall of Fame straight away.
he should have his own ring. Like, I've always been a massive Randy Orton fan. I've always liked him. I'm glad people are now starting to finally realise just how good Randy Orton is.
People say about how brilliant he is and just picked it up straight away and like 100% believed him because you can see it.
I can't not agree with that because they're two of my favourite wrestlers of all time, and I can't believe I never even thought to do it myself. I was too busy trying to sneak in Stone Cold Roddy Piper.
But so is the final two matches then? Is it Harlem Heat, New Day, and Will Ospreay, Eddie Guerrero?
I don't know because we've got Stone Cold and Randy Orton now. I really like the idea. I really like that idea. I don't know. I really like Will Ospreay, Eddie Guerrero, and I really like Stone Cold Randy Orton. But we've only got one tag match, so we do need another tag team match.
Do you know what? Actually, I completely forgot. I've got another match here as well. I haven't even read.
Mate, I've still got matches there on me backups that I haven't even talked about yet. But
so another match I had Umaga from 2007 versus Jacob Fatu in a last man standing. That's what I had.
I like Dumag, and Jacob Fatu's been fantastic since coming to. I didn't think he would do so well in WWE. Just obviously with him not being that type of wrestler before, but that he's come in and he's been a breath of fresh air. He's been brilliant for WWE. He's bigger now than he could have ever been.
No, what they delayed him coming in because they didn't want to delay Solo's push, didn't they, and stuff like that.
Yeah, they tried to make it work, and then Jacob turned up, and everyone was like, "Oh shit, this guy can wrestle. We like this one. We don't like Solo." Like, ultimately, it made Solo look worse. But see, I've got other matches as well that I've got just jotted down here. I had Bryan Danielson versus Owen Hart in a singles match. If any of the others were taken, like Brett and that from the Fatal 4-Way. I didn't want to just start adding in more and more technical wrestlers, so I left it at 4. That's why Owen Hart missed out. Only because I think Brett is better than Owen. I have Drew McIntyre versus Sting, because they never faced off. And I had Samoa Joe versus 2006 Dave Batista. Current Samoa Joe versus 2006 World Heavyweight Champion Batista. You know, when he had them matches with Triple H, I feel like that was the best year. But I feel like we've got to nail in a tag match because we've got one tag match. So that was the idea, wasn't it? It was supposed to be 2 women, 2 tag, and then 4 whatever.
Do you want
So
to hear my other subs before we go through that then?
yeah.
Right, so I had MGF versus Triple H, the 2002 Triple H in a no DQ.
And MJF where he returned in the 2002 Triple H jacket. Oh, that was so cool. Amazing. It got everyone talking about
I
that though,
know.
didn't it? Like it blew up. People that didn't even know who MJF was were talking about it.
I have Undertaker from 2008 versus either AJ Styles, Demon Finn Balor, or Seth Rollins. Either one of them. I wouldn't mind
He
it being
faced,
AJ, to be fair.
he faced AJ.
Oh, yeah, he has. I forgot he's faced AJ at the bloody
He's
Boneyard.
faced,
It wasn't a proper match, though. They had a little
I think he's faced
cinematic match.
I want to say he's faced Seth Rollins. I don't know for
I don't think
100%.
he has. Not in a 1v1 in a tag match against the
Maybe,
Shield, the Brothers of
yeah.
Destruction, because it was on Smack. It was on like a London episode. I remember it, but not a 1v1.
See, like Demon Finn Balor, the only problem with Demon Finn Balor is it has to, and you can't pick errors because she's still current, would have to be
Yeah, true.
NXT's version because
Well,
they ruined him on the main
realistically,
roster.
well, he's done the Demon Finn Balor in Judgment Day though. He done it against Ed.
And they killed it. And they killed it. They
You
killed
didn't
it.
like it? You don't like the
They killed it.
purple version?
Loved it, and then he lost.
Well, yeah,
He
okay, yeah.
lost. He lost.
Yeah.
They killed it.
I
They
know.
killed it.
Well,
That's why
yeah.
he's not done it again since. They killed it. Why? Why did he lose? I don't understand. I still don't understand that this day. Why did he lose that feud? He should have beat him and went on to the World Championship.
I know.
So they killed Demon Finn Balor. So like if you didn't use
He's so over. Like it's hard.
exactly he was so over, but he was a legend. He'd retired and come back. He
Oh
didn't need
no.
the win. He didn't need the win.
I know. I know.
Like if you'd have an
Um,
NXT Demon Finn Balor, then yeah, I'll go with that all day. But current day to me, it's dead and buried now. Edge killed it. Edge killed it. Pope.
I've got two more matches on the sub. So I had Matt Cardona versus Razor Ramon from 1994.
Yeah,
I
he's a
thought,
big Razor fan, isn't he?
I
But
thought,
you know,
I thought why not?
the only match I sort of teased with for Razor Ramon was actually Ethan Page.
Fair enough. I mean, I wouldn't say that's bad either.
I'd like to have seen that Razor Ramon versus Ethan Page, but my only issue with that is there's too many good matches for that to make this short.
Yeah.
Maybe if we did the second one, like a follow up, and didn't use any of these guys in like a second follow up match, then that could make it in there.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Like I'm open to that. Like I like the idea of Ethan Page versus Razor Ramon.
And then the last one I had was Samoa Joe versus Owen Hart from 1988 as well.
Wow, do you not like Owen Hart or something?
What? Samoa
Samoa Joe's
What?
Samoa Joe's an absolute animal. Poor Owen. He's not getting it. He's not getting a job shooting on them meaty legs, is he? Slider.
Okay, right. So the tag match, right?
So
Well,
we going?
I don't mind doing Harlem Heat versus New Day. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, New Day versus Harlem Heat can be for any of the tag belts. I'm not bothered.
Yeah.
Versus Harlem Heat, I really like that because, like,
Well, I'm bothered about the tag titles actually because I don't want those bloody raw round circle ones on them.
yeah, WCW championships maybe. I had 1996 Harlem Heat, by the way.
Okay.
If that means anything to you, I don't know if you
No.
so.
I don't know who Harlem Heat are. I've seen like one or two matches, but I didn't watch WCW stuff. So.
I love WCW. Obviously, I grew up on WCW, and I'm like my favorite tag team from them was Harlem Heat, and New Day remind me quite similar of like a modern day, if you like, Harlem Heat. So I feel like it'd be a really good match. The only other match I'd ready for New Day would be Young Bucks, but neither one of them are past. You know, they're both present. It's just WE versus AEW, so you can't really have that.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're stuck now on them two singles matches then. Are we going to have Will Ospreay versus Eddie Guerrero, or are we going to have Stone Cold versus Randy Orton?
What year are we going to say Stone Cold, though? That's the thing.
98.
98. 98 Stone Cold versus Randy Orton.
Current Randy Orton.
See, current Randy Orton now versus Stone Cold, then it would still be a great match. But I think '09 Randy Orton versus Stone Cold then would be even better. Whereas obviously Guerrero still died, still in his prime. He only died like a year after '04, and he was still absolutely brilliant. He had the WrestleMania match that year against Rey Mysterio in the opening match, and it was absolutely class. Um,
A ladder
and,
match as well. I know it gets laughed at because it was custody for Dominic Mysterio, but that ladder match was so good.
yeah, so good. And that Eddie Guerrero versus now Will Ospreay would be the better match, but then Randy Orton versus Stone Cold. So I think Will Ospreay versus Eddie Guerrero would probably have to make the
Yeah,
cut.
I mean, if we're being honest to and like, and that's what it is like Stone Cold versus Randy Orton's going to sell better. Of course it would.
Yeah,
Legend based legend, it'll sell better. But if we're looking at match quality and what we'd want to watch personally, like the match quality between Eddie Guerrero and Will Ospreay could be literally the greatest match of all time. Like Will Ospreay is the greatest wrestler in the world right now, without a doubt to me. Um, and Eddie Guerrero, like, is literally one of the greatest of all time. Like, it can't be disputed that Eddie Guerrero should be in everyone's top 10
yeah.
wrestlers. So I'd agree. I'll go Will Ospreay for the European Championship.
Yeah, throw it in there.
24
I'm a fan of
7.
that title. I'm not gonna lie. I like that title.
It was a nice title. I did like the European Championship. I think it was really good. I
I
also
wouldn't
like.
mind bringing it back, honestly. Get a British
I,
people person to win it and change the United States title to the European title again.
I also like the international championship that AEW have, the big gold one with the different flags on.
Yeah.
I really like the
That's the
design of
one
them.
that Omega's got.
Yeah. Omega's got it now, and when Osprey had it and lost it to MJF, he made it the All American Championship and put the
Yeah,
American flag. Such a good
I
gimmick.
see. Um,
Right, so the rundown of the matches we have, and then we have to pick where we're putting them on the card. So we have Chris Benoit versus Kenny Omega for the World Heavyweight Championship in a Falls Count Anywhere match. That was your lock match. John Moxley versus Cactus Jack in a hardcore match. Then we have the Fatal 4-Way submission match of Bryan Danielson, Bret Hart, Kurt Angle, and Zack Sabre Jr.
I think that needs to start.
Start.
It's it's a really good way to start off the night. Like, there's too many big matches, and and only one of them could be the main event. Um, I just don't feel like that. It's not that couldn't be a main event. All of these matches are like main event matches. It's hard to pick, but I feel like it also needs a good opener, and that would be a great opener. That submission match, I think.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. And I don't feel like it needs to be for the title or anything. I think it just
No.
needs to be literally like we are the best submission experts with the best technical wrestlers. Now we're going to find out who is the greatest. It can literally be that. But if
Yeah.
we're going for that first, I'd say we either go with a women's or a tag team next.
Um, what were the women's? So we have Stephanie versus Mickey and
Lita Rhea.
Lita Rhea. Wouldn't mind doing Lita Rhea. I feel like Stephanie Mickey would be better than Lita Rhea.
Yeah, match quality wise, probably right. Yeah. So start with Rhea and Lita next.
Yeah. And then jump to a tag match, I'd say. Maybe Harlem Heat versus New Day.
So Rhea Ripley versus Lita. Harlem Heat. It's so hard to do this. You like the amount of names that you're missing out. It's ridiculous, but you can't book everyone. Like Sting's not on it. Undertaker's not on it. Like Triple H isn't on it.
Way back
Oh
in the
yeah, he
day.
is. Oh no, he is. He is. Sorry, he is. The Young Bucks and the X, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Forgot that.
Yeah, I didn't even think of Ric Flair, He's literally just popped into my head. They could have put Flair on it. Like,
Hulk Hogan. Like I know not everyone's cup of tea, but he's still a massive name. John Cena.
yeah,
There's so many, but like my problem a lot of them are still wrestling now, and a lot of them are coming to the end of the career. So
yeah.
like would have booked John Cena in an Ultimate match? No, because he's current and
Yeah,
he's
it's not
great.
good.
He's doing good things like character wise, but in ring wise,
No, I'd when he retires, we do this again next year when he's retired. Then we can put him on it, and then we can pick '07 Cena.
yeah. But it's like Chris Jericho though. I wouldn't want to put 2025 Chris Jericho against like somebody else from face from years ago. And again, it's another one of them things as well. It's like Jericho's wrestled for like 30 years, and he's wrestled for multiple companies, so he's met most people in the ring
Yeah,
at some way, shape, or form. So,
I know.
so we've got submission fatal four way, Rhea Ripley, Lita, Harlem Heat, New Day. So then we need a singles match next. So we've got. So we don't want to put Mox and Cactus and Benoit and Omega close together because they're both technically hardcore matches. Just one you can pin outside the ring, one you can't. So we'll probably put one of them next.
I
Um,
How do you feel about doing the 7 match card, and then do you know how AEW do a dark match after the pay-per-view?
who does a dark match?
Do you know sometimes AEW do like the dark matches after a card, don't they? After a
No.
pay-per-view, they've done like they've done the unsanctioned one, didn't they? After
Oh, lights out match. Is that what you
lights
mean?
out matches, yeah,
Yeah,
they're
so
like after the
like
pay-per-view, aren't they?
yeah. We can do a lights out match. Yeah,
That's what I mean.
um,
So we could do that for Cactus versus John Moxley if you wanted.
yeah. We can do that as a lights out match. I've got no problem with that.
Because
Uh,
then that's not technically a main event, but that's the last match.
That's what you finish it on, yeah. But I still would put a break in between Benoit and Omega and Mox and Cactus. You don't want to go
Oh,
hardcore to hardcore, though, do you? Even if it's technically not the finish, I still wouldn't go from hardcore to hardcore.
yeah. I still can see that.
So I'd say maybe put Benoit and Omega now.
Have we got any other world titles?
Yeah, Osprey versus Eddie Guerrero for the WWE Championship.
Oh, you put that for the WWE title for the
Yeah, the
2000.
2004 WWE title, the proper one,
The
not the
undisputed one.
not the crap one they got now.
Yeah, the JBL one was the last one to hold it, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Well, I
because
mean,
then Cena made it spinner then, didn't he?
yeah, yeah. So go on. I'd do Chris Benoit versus
Yeah.
Kenny, you know.
Benoit versus Omega, um, World Heavyweight, Falls Count Anywhere match. So then we have 4 matches left. So if we're going to finish on Mox and Cactus with the lights out, um, so then we need to figure out where everything else is going. Do we then finish with on the technical card of Osprey and Eddie Guerrero for the WWE Championship?
Yeah, yeah, the beers now.
Yeah, Osprey versus Guerrero WWE Championship, and we have now got the X and Young Bucks, Stephanie Vaquer and Mickey James. I haven't ticked these off. What else have we got left? Let's see. That one's been used. That one's been used. That one's used. That one's used. New Day. Yeah. Wait. How's this worked out? Oh yeah, I've got 2 left. Sorry, I've got 2 left. Idiot. So yeah, after Benoit versus Omega, we can go to either Young Bucks and DX or Stephanie Vaquer versus Mickey James.
I wouldn't mind doing it. Stephanie Vicker and Mickey James as the main event. To be honest, if I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I know it's not the
Mate,
bigger draw, but you're also gonna get bloody John Moxley versus Cactus Jack straight after it. So
I know that. It's just I can't put Stephanie versus Mickey ahead of Osprey versus Guerrero.
oh no, I thought you said you had Young Bucks And
Yeah, next, yeah. So like we've worked out we've got 1 to 4 and then we've got 7 and 8. We need to put 5 and 6 in. So it's either Stephanie and Mickey or Young Bucks DX.
oh, okay. I do Young Bucks, do you?
All got confusing then, didn't
Yeah,
it?
love it.
Young Bucks versus DX for the other tag titles, which we haven't specified. And
It'll be for the SmackDown ones, the gold ones.
the 2004 SmackDown ones,
Do you prefer them than the ones that they done now?
100%.
I don't
Yeah,
mind the gold ones, but yeah, I get what you mean.
I like gold, but I like it with the bit of the blue in.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, okay, so we will do a full rundown of the card now then. Should we open with Bryan Danielson versus Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle versus Zack Sabre Jr. in a submission fatal 4-way match? Then we go to Rhea Ripley versus Lita for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Then we go on to Harlem Heat versus The New Day for unspecified tag team titles. We then have Benoit versus Omega for the World Heavyweight in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And we go on to Young Bucks versus DX for another unspecified tag team titles. Then we have Stephanie Vaquer versus Mickey James. We have Will Ospreay versus Eddie Guerrero for the WWE Championship. And in a lights out finale of absolute carnage is Death Riders John Moxley versus 2001 Cactus Jack.
I like it. That sounds like a really just a fully stacked card.
It is. There's literally no piss break, is there?
No, you're not going out for any of those matches.
To be fair, I'm impressed that we've put together such a solid card. When you first suggested it yesterday, I started looking and I must have ripped up pages about 3 or 4 times. And I was thinking, oh my God, it's going to be one of the worst things ever. But it's turned out really, really good.
Yeah, it has. I think it's turned out better than the Evolution one, to be fair. The matches.
It's a better card. It's a better card. I'd prefer to watch this than the Evolution one. But that reminds me as well, is if you haven't yet seen our Evolution fancy booking, make sure to take a look in the archives. It was only last week, the week before that we did it, wasn't it? So it'd be quite current. So there you have it. That is our past versus present fancy book and pay-per-view card. Do you agree with our picks? Let us know in the comment section below, and also let us know any of yours, past versus present. Do you think you'd rather see AJ Styles versus Shawn Michaels over Young Bucks versus DX? Let us know in the comments, and as always, don't forget to give us a like, leave us a comment, and subscribe to the wrestling group today.